Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Cott. I'm delighted as ever to be joined by the one and only Keith Jackson. Keith,
how's it going? Well, do you know something, Dan? After that last atrocity of a derby between Celtic and Rangers at Ibrox, that was one to get your teeth into, wasn't it? And the first thing I say is applaud both sides, thank them both for putting on a proper spectacle. That was a proper semi-final, a proper Old Firm match, and it kind of ended in the way that you probably suspected it might from the minute that Martin O'Neill drove his DeLorean back into Glasgow. Never mind the Honda Civic or the Ferrari. It was a good old time machine, and they're this guy that started what has been a millennium of dominance, or since the millennium, a period of sustained Celtic dominance. He's only back in the door for a couple of minutes, and he's put them back in a final.
As you can see on your screen, we're obviously joined by Scott McDermott and Michael Gannon, both from Hampden. Who should we start with then? Maybe the Celtic reaction? Mick, I understand you've heard from Martin O'Neill after the game?
Yeah, I'm just glad here that I can see Jacko's got 3 bars on again in the fire, and Scotty's still inside, and I'm out here in the cold again. I don't know how this has worked out. I didn't know that was allowed. I thought I had to get in for a bit of scenery. What an afternoon, guys, we've seen here today. It was absolutely wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, action packed, amount of instants in the game, major moments. It was incredible. I think that Martin O'Neill looked a bit kind of drained himself afterwards. He makes the usual kind of joke. He didn't really enjoy it as much, but I think he'll enjoy the result and aspects of the performance. Inevitably, the question was, there were 2 questions. One, does he fancy walking out, leading this team in the final? And what about his long-term future? Because obviously his name is run around this place, end of the game and various stages of the match. He seems to have got the bug back, hasn't he? It was never lost him, never left it really. But he did say, deep down, he secretly would love to lead the team out at Hampden next month. And he said he's open to talks with Dermot Desmond. So he's kind of opened the door, having 20 minutes earlier told TV complete opposite. And then also said to us, I don't think it's going to happen anyway. It's not really part of the plan. But, well, yeah. He's doing the usual kind of, he's dropping major hints that I don't buy him saying this, that, oh no, I'll happily step aside and all that stuff. I think especially now after this week, I think he would actually quite happily take this job on a permanent basis.
That's really interesting, Mick, isn't it? That little shift. I mean, we did suggest that it might well happen, but it's happening now in front of our eyes. He is starting to sort of pivot a little bit towards, wouldn't mind that.
He's playing a cute game, isn't he? He's saying, listen, I don't think it's going to come up. I don't think it's going to be the case. I'm here till probably after Kilmarnock. There's a gap due international break that you think would be the natural kind of time to kind of make an appointment. But if he goes and does things like this today, so I think, listen, the nostalgia of it all is quite easy to see, and like you mentioned yourself, like Back to the Future stuff. But he's a serious manager. I know he's been 6 years at the dugout, and I thought his game plan in the first half worked a treat. Here today, I thought the Rangers 3-5-2. They couldn't cope with Celtic. I know Rangers had a couple of kind of big chances, but I thought Celtic were streets ahead in that first half. Obviously, the red card changes things slightly. I think the red card actually helped Rangers. I think the second half they were a better shape, a bit about them. I know they had to kind of defend kind of deep and hitting the counter, and they kind of grew into the game with 10 men. Celtic got a bit spooked, and also took charge again the next time. But I thought O'Neill earned his corn. I thought it was the Celtic setup was good. They were intense. They were direct. They got at Rangers, completely in contrast to the last 3 or 4 kind of Old Firm games when Celtic have been kind of pedestrian, passive, a bit kind of predictable. This was kind of all guns blazing. I think the good balance of the team. There's no mention about round pegs or square holes. And getting a tune out of guys that maybe haven't been playing particularly well this season. Guys like Arnie Engels, Austin Trusty, I thought were great. Callum McGregor, who's been kind of criticised at times. First half he was outstanding, and then as the game went on, he grabbed it with roughly net again. And then you get 2 strikers who really got a look in. And this season, 2 bargain buys. I mean, 500 grand for the 2 of them coming and doing the business and scoring goals that got Celtic to the final. And basically saying, I've only got these 2 guys, I'm going to play them, and then 2 of them did the business. So he's getting a tune at them straight away. So it is a topic for conversation.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Scott, but I feel, at the start of the second half, I was a little bit worried. First, I thought Celtic were dropping off. I thought they dropped off to quite an extent at the start of the second half. Rangers, to their credit, went right on the front foot. Instead of trying to defend, and kind of stay in the game, having already been, fallen a goal behind. I thought and I give credit to them for that, and I give credit to Danny Rowe for that, because they chased the game, they went after it, they took some risks to do it, but it came off. It made it a game, and by the end of that second half, you did feel the Rangers were going to equalise. It was on the cards.
Yeah, you're right, Jack. I think the big frustration for Danny Rowe will be that it's how Rangers started the game. Because you're right, he'll get a lot of credit. He'll get a lot of credit for the way they came out in the second half. And I don't think MD would have begrudged them that equaliser towards the end. He made a change at half time. It was a positive one. He got them on the front foot. He said that when he came into his post-match press conference. Says they were brave. They felt there was space in behind where they could hurt Celtic. And he said they felt, when it went to 1-1, they were the only team that was going to go and win it. But as I said earlier, I think he'll be frustrated at the first half, because, like Mick says, Celtic got after them and Rangers didn't really react. I thought they were too passive. They lacked a bit of intensity, a bit of urgency. Guys like Giga and Cornelius at the back, first half, really slow and laboured at times. Just weren't at it, and it cost them. I thought
Giga looked like an absolute
bomb scare.
Accident waiting to happen all day long for Rangers. In fact, what I would say is, Scott, that I think part of the reason Rangers started slowly was because of Giga. I think Giga spooked him a little bit, because he looked so nervous and so rattled, and he made a couple of these early mistakes. And I think that Celtic sensed that and then get really on top of Rangers in that period, right for the start of the first half. And I think you could put it down to Giga. And also, when the ball did get up to Chermiti, he wasn't doing anything again. And I thought the two of them were absolutely miles off, and Celtic sensed it, and sensed that they had the opportunity to really get on top of that game right from the off.
The other problem with Giga, Jacko, was because he was so poor. Tavernier was having to go back, maybe. All the time. Tavernier's in there as a wing back, trying to get forward, but he was getting pinned back, basically making that a back five by Sarachi and Funeki, because Giga was such a liability at the start. And it was just listen, I watched Giga the other night at Easter Road have a terrific game where he looked at it and he looked sharp. I don't know whether it was nerves today, obviously big game, all firm game, but my God, he couldn't get out of first gear. He was sleepwalking in that first half. He improved slightly in the second half, but couldn't get much worse. But that was a big problem for Rangers in the first half. Celtic got a lot of joy, even though Rangers did have a couple of gilt-edged chances through Chermiti and Raskin in the first half, where they need to be more clinical. But it's interesting Rangers-wise, because they've lost the game 3-1. You get knocked out a semi-final with your big rivals. And yet, as you touched on, Jack, I think in the cold light of day, because they went down to 10 men, because of the reaction second half, Danny Rowe will probably come out of it with a bit of credit, which is unusual for an old firm manager losing his first derby in a cup semi-final.
What about you, Mick? Could you sense that in the stadium, that there were one or two players in that Rangers team that looked a little bit spooked by the size of the occasion today? Did you sense Celtic sensing that, and that gave them that impetus to get in the front foot early, though?
I think a bit of both. I think Celtic caused that as well. I think they had structural problems. I think from the off, so they were very direct, and at times they were pinging diagonal balls. It was causing Rangers to having to back off. So they went from this to back three to back five quite quickly. And the big pressure. I found it strange that Chermiti's job was just off the front to sit on Callum McGregor. And Callum McGregor in the first half just shrugged him away and just ran the show in the first half. And it meant they could pick their passes into the corners. It pinned back the two wing backs for Rangers, invited the pressure, and it was constant. The second half, as I say, I think the sending off actually seemed to benefit Rangers second half, because they changed it to a 4-3-2 type thing. And it seemed to actually be a bit more of a help to them. I still think that Celtic, the same old problem with Celtic, they're not ruthless in the final third. Celtic's been out of sight. They had chances in the second half to be 2, 3, 4 ahead. Then the nerves start kicking in with Celtic because they don't get that second goal. And then the last kind of 15 minutes or last 20 minutes, it turns into a kind of a slight panic mode. Rangers get some momentum. They get the penalty kick, and it's a different ball game. But even after that, they missed a couple of big chances as well, Celtic. I mean, Negan missing the sitters, Tati missed a sitter. I mean, Celtic really should have been far more comfortable. I think the 10 men next time were always going to find it hard next time that the legs started to go. And the early goal just took the legs away from Rangers. And I think that was it. Even then, there were still opportunities to get back in the game. Casper Smith with a couple of big saves at that period. Then obviously the third goal comes in, it's over. But it's a strange game. There's some strange moments that it could have been a comfortable Celtic win at one point. It could have been a very uncomfortable defeat for Celtic at some point. There's the flashpoint with the red card, the flashpoint with a potential red card. The penalty kick was another one. There's a lot to unpack here today, wasn't there? Yeah. A wheelbarrow overflowing with stuff to unpack. And where does it leave them? I think Scott's right. I think Rangers will get a bit of credit for their second half resilience. The manager, I think, will escape with his reputation enhanced by it because of that. Rightly so. And Celtic are again, I still think Celtic are way off where they could and should be. Mm-hmm. But they got the job done. And another day, I think Celtic would have been Celtic at the peak of their powers would have been given a hefty edition, a hefty game here against Rangers. I think it'd be a hefty win. But they're not quite there in terms of the same problems they've had all season, in terms of the kind of the ruthlessness of final third. And that's after scoring 3 goals.
I know you guys are really busy and we won't keep you much longer. Just before I let you go, a couple other things. Scott, Chermiti is taking a lot of a stick in the comments. 2 big chances again today, 2 big chances missed. It's getting to the point, does he get dropped for the next game, do you think?
I don't know, Daniel, but I mean, as bad, as poor as he was, Majowski came on for him and was worse. I thought Majowski did absolutely nothing when he came on. No, didn't he win a header against Trusty? Didn't he run in behind? Didn't he really have a chance at goal? Rangers need more of their strikers in general. And I'm not defending Chermiti. Listen, he's missed 2 gilt-edged chances today. And I agree with Mick. The whole kind of thing of him dropping in and trying to stop McGregor playing just didn't work at all. No, he's there to score goals. He's 2 big chances and he's missed them. The only thing I can say for him is he puts a shift in. He was winning some flick-ons. He was at least kind of, as I say, using his energy and trying to cause Celtic's defence a problem. It wasn't great by any stretch, but his replacement came on and was even worse. So they're struggling in that department. I mean, ironically, in the first half, Danilo had actually linked to play a couple of times pretty well. He played a lovely ball for the Raskin chance where he puts him clean through. But yet Danilo had to be sacrificed at half time because of the red card, which was a blow. Later on in the game, getting into extra time, I thought in the second half Raskin was a lot better and was one of the kind of driving forces behind Rangers' performance. Again, they lost him getting into extra time, which was another blow. So there was loads of things kind of went against. As I said, Rangers I thought really poor in the first half, but loads of wee things went against, including some of the decisions, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Scott, just on what you just said there, they didn't have to take Danilo off. He chose to take Danilo and leave Chermiti on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he got that decision right. And was Raskin injured? Why did Raskin come off?
We don't know for certain. We thought it looked as if he had an issue, Raskin, and that's why he was coming off. Because at the end of the 90 minutes, as I say, I thought he, along with Tavernier, they were the real drivers in the Rangers team that had got them back in the.
I was surprised by that substitution, and I don't think there was an injury.
But that's interesting because I don't know why you would take him off. I mean, take him off to bring. I think he brought Aarons on to move Tavernier into midfield. I mean, I think Raskin must have been struggling. Jacko must have been struggling for fitness.
I think it was Antman that came on for him.
Oh, it was Antman that came on, right?
So
that's right. Tavernier moved in.
And he's got Joe Rothwell on the bench. So as much as I'm saying that I think he got a lot right, and I admired him for getting on the front foot and trying to change the game by being bold, I think there's some questionable decisions that have been made there.
Because I thought they missed Raskin badly in extra time, given what he produced in the second half.
And Mick, just finally in Celtic, Anthony writes in saying Martin O'Neill getting all the plaudits, but you could see Maloney's tactics and input. And I would just add to that as well. One player we've not spoke about as well, Daisen Maeda. I thought he was back to his rampaging. I know he didn't score, but pretty much his best today.
He was a machine again, wasn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, I did think that. Yeah, he looked much more like his old self, full of energy, an absolute nuisance for defenders, isn't he? I thought he was good. Tanecki and Nurse I thought was lively as well. Another player, but he probably drives managers and teammates nuts because his final ball wasn't quite there sometimes. But he's very direct and he causes havoc, doesn't he? Yeah, I thought Celtic at times, especially that first half, played really well. But you can see they're still stretched in terms of the squad. I mean, Callum Osmand, a few minutes against Falkirk the other night, he's brought off the bench here. I thought he looked really well, really good, Callum Osmand. Surprisingly so, really quick. Like a real handful. I mean, he was quite funny about him as well. He said he's a bit of a ticket for himself. He said, he said he missed a chance before that. If he hadn't scored, he would have been here tomorrow. But I thought he looked pretty lively. I thought he was decent. I thought Johnny Kenny actually is probably, well, not even probably about it. It's his best performance for Celtic for the first half. He was outstanding. He was a real handful. He was winning his headers, holding the ball well, getting into possessions, and scored a good goal. I thought he was, pressing as well, causing some moments of panic at the back for Rangers. But yeah, it was just a bizarre 120 minutes. You look at it, I mean, both goalkeepers also have had stormers as well. I mean, Butland, I thought Butland for the McGregor goal, questions to be asked, I think, for that one. It was pretty central, wasn't it? I know it's swerving and stuff like that, but he must have had about half a dozen brilliant saves as well.
Yeah.
And likewise, I thought Schmeichel had 2 or 3 great saves as well. So, I mean, so many subplots. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it, really?
Daniel, see just on my, I don't know what you boys think, and I know there'll be more high-profile refereeing decisions that you speak about with Des later, but I agree, I thought Maida was excellent, but I thought he was lucky to stay in the pitch, Maida. In the first half, he commits a foul where Rangers are trying to start an attack by pulling a shirt, and completely stops the attack. Any day of the week, in any league, that's a yellow card, 100%. He didn't get a yellow card and then he picks one up in the second half, which, from Rangers' perspective, I would argue should have been his second. As I say, I don't know if it's just me or whether a lot more people will pick up on that, but I thought Maida was lucky still be on the pitch.
I think that's a fair point, Keith. Did you pick up on that?
No, not the foul that Scott was talking about, but I did think there was a point in the game where there was a lot of yellow cards getting handed out, and you felt if you're the referee out there, there's sometimes a tendency to look to level things up. And I think to his credit, Nick Walsh didn't seek to do that, but there were some borderlines. There were some borderlines where he was. I thought every yellow card that he gave out, I think was merited. Don't think there was one where you thought that wasn't the right call. But yeah, there was a period in it where it was a bit tousy, it was getting a bit physical, and maybe he did let 1 or 2 go in that period.
Yeah. Guys, look, I know you've got plenty of post-match duties to be getting on with, so we'll let you get on and do that. Thank you so much for joining us on the hotline as ever.
You need to get us off because I think Des Roache is going to be on to midnight trying to unpack all this. We need to get out of here. Good luck with that one, Des.
Well,
look forward to this later on.
See before you go, right? 3 big calls, Aasgaard red card, Trusty booked before half time, and the penalty kick. Just very quickly on the 3 of them. Mick first.
Aasgaard, no red. Trusty booking enough, and for me, no penalty.
So not a red card for Aasgaard?
No, I didn't mean it. I think his boot was high and it caught him, but I don't think it ran any malice. Okay. It's a sore one and he ripped his shots and all that. I know, get it. I know why it's a red card, but for me, listen, this game was like a Scottish Junior Cup final, so let it play out like one. It was a robust challenge. Somebody said he got the ball, and somebody said, "Which one?"
You get 3 of them at the same time.
Aye, the left or right. For me, I thought that was, I can see why it's a red, but I don't like seeing it with red. Trusty, let a foot dangle in. It wasn't brutal or any kind of serious foul play in it. It was a bit kind of naughty hanging a toe out, but it didn't cause him any damage. It wasn't brutality or serious foul play, so not for me. And I thought the penalty is a weird one. Listen, I've been told the rules it's crazy. So if Ralston dives, if his hand down to break his fall, it wouldn't be a penalty kick because he's breaking his fall. But because he's put his arm tucked it in, and it's hit off his arm, even though his back's to it, it's a penalty. And then you say, well, it's a penalty, it should be a booking as well. So then why is he not sent off? Because he's on a booking as well. It's a messy one, but for me, I don't think he's tried his hands out the way. I don't think he got a penalty when he's tried his hands out the way. But the rules of handball we know are a complete and utter minefield. And I'm sure Des will be sitting ready to turn me off for all these ones in a minute. So it's probably best I get out of here.
Scott, what do you think?
I think Aasgaard has to go. I think he's unlucky. Because I don't think he's meant it, but when you get in that high and you connect with that kind of force, I think you've got to go. For me, Trusty's a red card. Honestly, I know Mick's saying there's no force, and I could understand that if Trusty was getting to challenge Butland, but I mean he's nowhere near Butland. Butland's got the ball in his hands, and he crazily just decides to have a wee kick at him in the head. For me, it's a red card, and I think it's a penalty. And I know Danny Rolls kind of said he's surprised that, or he questioned why Ralston wouldn't get a second yellow. I think it'd probably be harsh to get sent off for that, but I do think you need to get a penalty.
Guys,
there's also a bit of a shove on Ralston, so he shoved him, he's down, he's flying. I just think that was a bit of a wacky one. It really was a wacky one.
There's a lot of wacky ones today, it feels like. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on Hotline Live. Massively appreciate it as ever, and I'm sure we'll be pestering you again soon.
No worries. Cheers, Daniel.
Catch you later, guys. See you later.
Michael Gannon and Scott McDermott there. Keith, and as if by magic, I can bring in our resident expert referee, the one and only Des Roache. Des, how's it going?
I think I've just been stuck on the end of a fishing rod there by Mick Gannon and Scott.
Well, look, I mean, aside from Mick and Scott, we've got tons of comments coming in, as you can probably imagine. And look, if you're watching at home, let us know what you thought in today's game, the refereeing decisions. I don't even know where to start, Keith. Where do we start?
I do.
Go on.
Same question, Des, that we just gave to the boys. 3 crucial decisions in that match today. Aasgaard red card, Trusty not a red card, and the Rangers penalty. Give me your thoughts, please. Educate me.
Well, I only educate folk Monday to Friday, so this is overtime. So on the first one, yes, I think the Aasgaard one was a red card. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. I completely agree with the guys that there is no intent whatsoever. It was just unfortunate the way the ball's landed. He's challenged Ralston. You can't challenge like that. So yes, I agree, a red card for that. And it's unfortunate on the young man because, as I say, there was no intent, but you can't challenge on it. Trusty, the next 2 ones are probably the most difficult ones. Trusty on first viewing, I didn't think it was a red card when I seen it. Didn't think it was a red card. On review of it, there was no brutality, there was no speed. The only thing that doesn't sit right with me is why is he doing it when the goalkeeper's got the ball in his hands? Mm-hmm. He is extremely, extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. I can understand why Nick has given it, and VAR have looked at it and said, okay, we'll back you up because there's no speed, brutality, intent, force, etc. But if a red card was given, I would have no qualms in that whatsoever. He's got away with one there.
Are you changing position on this, Des, a little bit? Because you seem to agree that the right decision was a yellow card.
No, I'm okay. Yeah. I'll stick with my decision. I'll go yellow card. Okay.
So it's okay to kick somebody in the face.
Don't you try and twist things here. No, I don't think there was any intent there. I was happy with
it. It's all intent, Dave. It's all intent. It's absolutely intent because Trusty's foot doesn't need to go anywhere near Jack Butland. Trusty moves his foot to make contact with Jack Butland's face. It's not to get to the ball. It's not a challenge. It's he moved his foot to make contact with Jack Butland's face.
See,
it's all intent.
No, I disagree with that. and I'm going to stick with my opinion. I think he's went to play the ball, realise he's not getting it, and it's not got there. So I'm going to be, on first opinion, I think yellow card. What I would say is, and this is where I'm going to back up myself, my opinion is yellow card. If I was called across by VAR to say, Des, you need to have a look at this and see what you think, then I would be of the opinion to say, okay. However, Nick wasn't called across to look at it.
That's a very good point.
Which, therefore, VAR has decided that there is nothing there. And VAR being Stephen McLean, and assistant VAR being Andrew Dallas, they are then corroborating and agreeing with Nick Walsh. Now, as I say, I'm big enough and ugly enough to, if I make a mistake, I'll make my opinion on the pitch. I thought it was a yellow card. I'm happy with yellow cards. However, if I was called across to say, Des, would you like to have a look at it? I would potentially change my mind on that and went, do you know what? He's been a bit naughty there. And I would have taken the decision. But that didn't happen on the field of play.
Well, I mean, here's some of the comments that are coming in on this, guys. The Greatest Showman says, does Trusty engaging an opponent? Yes, he doesn't need to do what he does. Red all day. Scotland's Most Wanted says, Trusty was just wiping the sweat from Butland's brow with his boot and a sign of fair play and good sport. John says, Trusty flicked out petulantly, a wee flick. And Marzuno says, kick in the face. He moved his foot towards him and then pulled out. And this one from Martin says, don't imagine Trusty did that on purpose. It's just the way he landed.
He wasn't falling. He was standing up, and he flicked his boot into Jack Butland's face, and the ball was dead. The ball was in Jack Butland's hands. I think it was. Do you know what? He should have probably got sent off for stupidity alone, because there was no need for him to do it. He was taking an extraordinary risk, given the context of the game and given the red card that had previously been shown to Aasgaard. I think it was just look. I think he was trying to boot Jack Butland or do damage. Not really, but you don't really need to put that much force into it when it's a football boot in a face. And the fact is, he went out his way to make sure that he made contact. Now he might well have had, in the process of doing it, realised this is crazy and kind of tried to stop himself, but he still made contact. It was just needless, and it was a huge risk to take. And I think he's a lucky guy.
We've got tons of people as well, Des. Sorry, just asking about the penalty. Peg leg is one of them. What about the penalty?
Okay, so again, I've always been down the route of penalties for handball should be given for intent and deliberate. I don't see what Ralston could have done. He was falling down. He's tried to make his body smaller. He could potentially actually hurt himself with the way that he's falling down. He could have, and the ball was hit at him. For me, it's not a penalty kick. And I know Keith's going to come saying, like, if it hits below the t-shirt line, etc. But you've got to take every individual incident on its own merits. I don't think that's justifiable for a penalty kick.
What do you think,
Keith? Nick Walsh wasn't called over to look at that one either, was he?
No. And again, so we go back to the first one. Why is VAR there? VAR is there to correct any on-field decisions that the referee is not getting correct. So by neither of those being checked, they're backing up the referee. Mm-hmm. Why have VAR then? Why have VAR? VAR is there to make sure that wrongs are righted and things are not there. Yes, you can have an opinion, but at least give the referee the foresight to have a look at it for himself if he's been unsighted.
Help me with the rule book here with this one, Des, right? Because I think clearly that's the most important factor. I agree with you. Ralston is actually bringing his arms into his chest as much as he can in the act of falling to the ground, and in no way is it deliberate. No way.
No.
But does the rule book state that a shot that is net bound, goal bound, whatever the phraseology you want to use, if a shot is going on target and it's stopped by a defender's arm, it's a penalty kick? Is that too black and white? Is there a greyer area than that in the rule book? Just the actual rule itself.
Yeah, so that stopped being a mandatory yellow card 2 years ago.
Not a yellow card, penalty kick.
Yeah, no, it still can be a penalty kick because the ball struck them. It's not a yellow card because the ball struck him. Then the sanction is the penalty kick.
So in the rules, it's black and white. There's a black and white case to argue that as a penalty, the penalty was the right decision.
They could, yes, however you wish to justify it. And that's always the way. It's the referee how they can justify it. It said if you throw yourself at the ball, which I don't think you did, and the ball strikes your arm, it's not mandatory yellow card, so therefore it can't be sent off. And a penalty can be awarded. In my opinion, that shouldn't be awarded because Ralston has done everything he can to avoid it, and the Rangers player has struck the ball off him.
I mean, in the comments, as you can imagine, some very strong opinions. This one here from Craigie says, if Ralston is standing with his arms tucked like that, it's not a pen, but because he's falling and his arms are tucked in, it is a pen. This one here from Chris is one of a number of people saying Ralston got pushed onto the ball. John says, what else is Ralston supposed to do with his arms? We other people says, the way Ralston's diving, his natural position would be arms outstretched, but he's actually trying to avoid hand-to-ball contact. It's an absolute joke. And plenty more of that nature.
Yeah, I'm just not having that. If it was me, I would. And again, I would want VAR to get me across. I'd be happy to overturn that.
Interesting.
But VAR never get involved. On the two most major incidents of the game today, VAR never get involved.
Well, they did get involved. They just didn't ask Nick Walsh to come and see the screen for himself.
Yeah, well, yes. They never asked him to overturn it. Never asked him to have an opinion on it.
See, I'm in between with this one, right? If it doesn't strike Ralston's arm, it's making its way towards the goal, yeah? Because his arm is actually the lowest point. As he's fallen pretty much horizontally, and his arm are the lowest part of his body. So it doesn't hit his elbow. It goes under him, and it hits the target. So on that basis, what I'm trying to work out here is the terms of the rule book. And in the terms of the rule book, if a shot is stopped by a defender's arm, whether it's intentional or otherwise, it's a penalty kick. And that clears it up. If that is the rule, that clears up the decision. If it's not the rule, then it's just a mess.
But that's the ambiguity of it, because that's the ambiguity of it. And the word there, and you've used it a few times, and I'll use it, and Dan use it, and we always use if. Who's not to say that Schmeichel's going to save it? Who's not to say that it's going to go off target? He's hooked it, he's sliced it, whatever. Ralston has done nothing there to intentionally stop that ball going towards goal. Ralston has done,
but you're using a word there, intentional, which we've been told
we always use, and that's the bit that I completely disagree with IFAB and numerous referees. The word for handball fouls, in my opinion, should always be, have you intentionally stopped that ball? It doesn't feature in IFAB, unfortunately. So we've got to look at it there. Did Anthony Ralston stop the ball denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity? No, because he's not clearing goal. There's defenders there. Did Anthony Ralston intentionally stop that? No, he's done everything. Yeah, but where's the ball going to go? Where's the ball going to go? Is it going to go?
That's the definition of a goal-scoring opportunity.
Nah, I don't think so. I think I can't go for it. The notes that I wrote at the time, I just said, no, everything he's done is legitimate within the laws of the game, not to that. And I know there's a couple of referees disagree with me, but I'll go on my sword with this one. I don't think it was a penalty. I think that's probably the best example of a defender trying not to use his arms to.
I agree.
Yeah, and Sean in the comments, Des, is one of a few people asking, was there a foul in Ralston in the build-up to that before he, the shove when he was going down? Did you see that as a foul?
I just think there's a lot of people involved at the same time in the same space, so these things happen, don't they?
Was it not Scales? Was Scales?
I see, as I was reading that, I thought it was Scales. I'm sure it was Scales.
Yeah.
The other one that I wanted to get both your guys' take on, I get this one isn't really a refereeing decision. It's more black and white, obviously, because it was offside. But Red Tim's one of a number of people pointing out that the Celtic goal that was chopped off early on, I'd need to see it again. But it did look to me like, I think it was Jiga's heel was playing Maeda on. It looked, if he wasn't, it's one of the tightest offside calls you'll ever see.
Well, what you're doing there then is accusing VAR of manipulating the evidence and putting out a false picture of the lines. The lines showed, and it was marginal. I mean, it's toenail stuff, but the lines are what they are. This is where we can't have an argument. This stuff is not subjective. This is just factual.
I was going to say that Maeda is obviously, he's got a blister in his heel and it's just went a bit too far.
Well, there you go, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing on the message.
Des, what did you think of that one then? Was that? Is there jiggery pokery with that one?
I would certainly think not. I think that is technology got it right. I mean, again, to the naked eye, nobody could see that until it was drawn. So no, and it's at Hampden, who's got more cameras than any other ground in Scotland probably. So yeah, you've got to just trust the technology to get that one right.
Craig says they used the wrong starting frame for the offside. There you go.
The jiggery pokery.
Never in Scottish football. There was so many refereeing decisions today, which I was delighted about, Keith, because it meant we could get Des on.
Yeah.
Is there any that we're missing? I think we've more or less covered them all.
Yeah, but what about the overall handling of the match?
Aye.
Des, because there was a lot of yellow cards. I always felt there was a risk that after the Rangers red card, there might be an attempt to balance things up. It's actually the contrary, because if he was looking for an excuse to balance things up, then Trusty handed it to him on a plate. But there was a lot of yellow cards. Am I right in thinking they were just about all merited? I'm struggling to think of any that I thought, that's a bit harsh.
No, I'm just saying in the first half, I'm looking through, Trusty cautioned in 47 minutes. Okay, fine, we've also discussed that. It could be red, could be yellow. I can have splinters on my backside saying I can agree with both. At the start of the second half, Ralston, Maeda, McGregor and Engels, all very obvious yellow cards. There was nothing of debate there. Second half, Suter grabbing Osmand, Osmand delaying the restart. They were all stick-ons. I mean, Nick didn't really need to go out his way to look for cautions. They were all presented to him. I think Nick can be a wee bit...
could he have let it go? Could he have let the game go a bit?
He probably could have at the start. He was sort of wee bits and pieces niggly. I thought the first 15 minutes went fine for him because I thought he was sort of seeing things and letting them go. But the players can only allow him to let it go depending on how they adopt their attitude to it. So I don't think it was his best performance. I don't think Nick's our golden boy anymore. He was portrayed as that as such for a long time. I think since the turn of the year, he's been a wee bit fluctuating. I was quite surprised he was given this game, to be perfectly honest, given his previous work this season. But listen, let's be honest. Celtic didn't win the game because of Nick Walsh, and Rangers didn't lose it because of Nick Walsh. Did he have his best performance? No. Will he get better? Yes. But hey, we'll see how we got on. And what he should do is he should try and take confidence for this game and take that into his future games.
I'll tell you one thing, Keith. There's only one golden boy ref on the hotline, and it's Mr.
That's
Des
correct.
Roache. Absolutely. Des, thank you so much as ever for joining us on the Hotline Live. It's amazing having you on. We really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll be pestering you again soon.
Yeah, no problem at all, guys. I'm just hoping to go to my bed. I've had a 600-mile round trip in the past 27 hours, so it'll be an early night for Mr. Roach and the family in here.
You can't leave us hanging. What have you been up to?
I text you. I was down at the British Gymnastics Championships for my son down in Telford. He was competing in the British under-12s as a 10-year-old for Scotland again, and Absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. Good.
Nice one. Well, like I say, Des, I'm sure I'll be pestering you again soon. Until then, thanks again for joining us.
No problem at all, guys. Enjoy your evening.
You too, Des.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
The one and only Des Roache, Keith.
By the way, the apple never falls far from the tree. Des doing a bit of mental gymnastics with one or two of his positions on the key decisions at Hampden today. But there you go. It's good to have him, isn't it?
I love having Des on. Just before we finish, I think this is a good note to finish on. Red Tim says it was the best derby match in ages, completely nerve-wracking for all the fans. And I would just chime in saying, look, I know we talk about Scottish football is obviously not on the same level as England, but that fixture today is easily the most entertaining game of football in Britain. Easily.
Cracking game of football.
Never lets
Cracking
you
game of football today.
apart from the last one.
You know, the atmosphere was good. The stories around it. I mean, there is no other fixture quite like it. And you know, the two teams served up a proper contest, something to get your teeth into, and just enjoy. It was just one of those games. Just sit back and enjoy it because it was high intensity, it was passionate, it was fast, it was furious. It was just everything that you're looking for. Chaotic. Everything you're looking for from this derby, you got it today. So as I said at the start of the show, well done to both teams because what they served up the last time was an abomination. That was more like it. That was what we come to expect from this pair.
And again, just before we wrap up, do you think there will be? Try to think of another word than consequences for this game today. As in, do you think Celtic will now push on and you know rain hearts in? Will this signal Rangers' rebirth? I mean, how do you think it will go?
Well, the two of them have been busy trying to, you know, land punches in each other's nose this weekend. Hearts have just quietly sauntered away into a 9-point lead, and that can become extended even further to 12 before Celtic next kick a ball in the league. So, you know, good luck to the pair of them. I mean, they were kicking lumps out of each other today. Hearts are just sitting there with the popcorn. Hearts are in a really good position now in terms of where these sides go from here. Celtic look as if they've got an energy back about them, a bit of purpose, a bit of bite, everything that you would expect to see from Celtic. I still don't think, as Mick said, that they're anywhere near the top level. And Martin O'Neill is cobbling a team together. Let's get that right as well. I mean, that's, you know, missing so many key guys. So Celtic have still got issues to resolve. Rangers, I don't know. I actually think I had to write a kind of opinion piece after it. And although you might feel as if it's a car crash at the end of the day for Rangers because they've lost against Celtic, well, Danny Rowe walks out of it, not just with his credibility or his reputation intact, but probably enhanced. Yeah. Because he was brave enough to make, and I mentioned there's 2 or 3 decisions that I'm struggling a bit to understand, but I think the overall approach that Rangers showed, put it this way, did Rangers put on a performance like that under Russell Martin? They don't come even close to it.
Not a chance.
So he's done a lot of good work in a very short space of time, and that tells you, you know, they can look realistically now towards the rest of this season. And I think the first target is they have to try to close the gap on Celtic and then see where it takes them. But right now, they just need to let Hearts disappear off into the horizon and just concentrate on trying to cut the gap to Celtic. And Celtic look as if they're getting a new lease of life at a good time. And so now all eyes are on, well, have you got an ideal candidate for this job? Do you intend to make that appointment? Or do you just go to Martin O'Neill and say, run with it? So again, Scottish football, Dan, you really don't have to look that hard to find incredible stories and dramas and plot twists. So, you know, the next, what happens over the course of the next few weeks, there'll be plenty of stories again and plenty of interest and plenty of potential momentum changes where the season's concerned.
And we will be here to cover it all on the Hotline Live. But for now, I think that brings us to the end of Sunday's Hotline Live with Record Sport. Thank you so much for all the comments. They've been brilliant as ever again today. Thank you so much to Scott McDermott and Michael Gannon at Hampden, of course, the one and only Des Roache. And to yourself, Keith, it's always a pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much for watching at home. We'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Hope you can join us then. Thanks for watching.